happening?
Are we live?
Get them.
Now, the Wall Street Journal says regarding NFTs, non-fungible tokens or NFTs have exploded onto the digital art scene this past year. Proponents say they are a way to make digital assets scarce and therefore more valuable. Wall Street Journal explains how they work and speaks skeptics. Oh, you see, what I just read is what we would refer to as a preview article. Wall Street Journal, they tricked me, they bamboozled me.
Nah, they taxing, bro. You like, it don't seem like I even get to read a New York Times article before I click on one and it says you have reached your article limit. Like when? Where?
Yeah.
They got to do something because newspapers and news outlets like that are struggling, man. I think I said it on the other podcast. 25% of Americans get their news primarily from social media now.
Yeah. And we've spoken about what's happening in Australia with the government forcing Facebook and these social media platforms in order to compensate these news outlets. But there are some available articles, but in general, getting news articles is quite hard. They give you snippets and then you gotta get the membership.
Yeah, we gotta have a whole stumble upon about access to information and shit like that, actually, because it gets deep how hard it is to actually access and find actual like sources. Like most academic research is behind some sort of paywall. You need some type of .edu to get through there. So, but NFTs.
We digress. NFTs, Miles Xavier. An NFT is an asset, and this is off of the New York Times. An NFT is an asset verified using blockchain technology in which a network of computers records transactions and gives buyers proof of authenticity and ownership. Let me read that again. An NFT is an asset verified using blockchain technology in which a network of computers records transactions and gives buyers proof of authenticity and ownership. The current boom is mostly for digital assets, including images, GIFs, songs, or videos. Most importantly, NFTs make digital artworks unique and therefore sellable. Now, artists, musicians, influencers, and sports franchises are using NFTs to monetize digital goods that have previously been cheap or free. The technology also responds to the art world's need for authentication and provenance in an increasingly digital world, permanently linking a digital file to its creator.
Dope.
Very.
So if you had to break that down into 3 basic bullet points, what would you give them? What does this say to you?
So the most important part of the NFTs is the non-fungible tokens, right? So these are you are effectively entering into this crypto space in which it is exchanged with tokens, and you can exchange the product, you can exchange the artwork or whatever it is that you purchase for whatever else, right? So if we're going to talk about just the basics of it, and the reason I'm trying to just break it down simply is because there's a lot of great lines. There's a lot of great lines in where it is what it's valuable for and what it's not valuable for. Now, the most valuable element of that is authenticity, which is an issue that artists face a lot, especially when it comes to digital art, music, and things of that nature.
Right. So I think the NFTs do a couple of really cool things, right? They add that authenticity element, which is essentially it's like a certificate of authenticity for anything else. If you were to buy a painting, if you were to buy, a really nice piece of artwork by like a craftsman who only makes a certain number, you can have something that verifies what it is, right? That is actually made by this artisan guy and not in some factory that's knocking off his stuff. So the authenticity piece is really cool, and then it's attached to that digital file, like Zoe said. So like it's inseparable from the piece of artwork itself. The other really cool thing is that it's tracked over time and connected to the artist. But what that also means is that every time the NFT gets sold, regardless of if it's the artist directly selling it to someone for the first time or if it's the person selling it for a second or third time down the road, the artist gets, I believe, a portion of that compensation compensated for that, or their value of the NFT itself goes up, or something like that. But
And
they
now
get compensated in a way that they haven't been before. Go ahead.
and now we're getting to some of those great lines, and that was a brilliant breakdown that you gave of it. I just wanted to ask you, if you had to put three main bullet points onto one to three, whatever it is, what would your bullet points be?
Yeah. Well, I think my bullet points would be a mix of like statements and questions. So one bullet point is for me is like the display of it. So if this NFT is embedded in my digital file, depending on what that file is, if it's a piece of digital art, then I'm looking at that art on my screen and I get it. But what gets hard to wrap your head around, but also really fun to imagine, is how that plays out for other mediums, how that plays out for music, how it plays out for like even memes, right? What's up?
Exactly. And it'd be a fun what would be a fun thing for us to do is go through, let's say, those three major art forms that NFTs apply to, and try and paint the scenario of ways that they can be valuable. Especially those three that you have just named, which would be the most applicable, which is music, electronic art, and digital art, and actual art.
Yeah. So I think like actual artist is an interesting one, because if I buy a painting that I want to hang on my wall, it's possible that I could be sold kind of like a how as CDs started to die, you would buy the CD and you would get the digital copy as well, right? You would go in and you'd put the code in, and now you have it. You have a physical version and you have it in your iTunes. So it's possible that you could be sold a painting and then get a digital like watermark or a digital certificate that you plug in, and now you have that piece both hanging in your house, but it's also displayed on wherever NFTs can be displayed. So I think that's a really cool idea. What do you think
Yeah.
about the physical art version?
On the physical art version, the biggest value of it comes from the, let's say, the investing element of art collection, right? And of art purchasing, which is that there is the act of investing in art is purchasing it at a certain value, holding that value for a certain amount of time, and then flipping that over. That's why art has always been uh, art has always been considered an asset class when it comes to investment portfolios. Now, with the ability to have tracked the authenticity of that art via this crypto, because what it is that it embeds the owner and the purchaser at all times. And so the movement of that art has been recorded. The value of that art is being recorded in a public market space. And the owner of the arts is also being recorded. So any reference into that art, we know where it's been, who it's been with, which is something that's already done, which is something that's done for actual art as it is right now. With the art that you purchase, if you are going to be investing it, they look at the history of the art. It's like purchasing a luxury car, or not an Oldsmobile, a collectible car.
Oldsmobile. That's the most uncollectible car in the world.
Dude,
But
I could
but
have said a bucket.
right, yeah, for sure. But you're absolutely right. I think the ability to track that over time in a digital way, and I think even like to a certain extent that might increase how much like for one of us, all right, if Jay-Z owned this painting and I can see that and track that, and that's a part of its like digital history represented on my computer somewhere, that adds a little bit of sauce to me wanting to buy the piece, right? Especially if other people can go and see like who owned this, and now I own some art that was in Jay-Z's house. You know what I mean? And there's somebody else will be blessed enough to own some art that was in my crib. You know what I mean? Uh,
Exactly,
so I
exactly.
think that's
And
lit.
that is the best part of it, and also allows people to engage in art at a distance. So let's say there's some collectible items that maybe people cannot house in their they cannot house for storage purposes. Maybe their walls don't allow for it. Maybe they're just not interested in the physical holding of that art. You with the NFTs, you hold a certificate of ownership of that art, which is authenticated via this crypto. So I think in terms of applicability of NFTs, digital art mainly so, but physical art as well. There's a lot of room for value in that, especially bridging. For instance, like someone can sell you a Banksy, and you don't know it's a. They can give you a certificate of authentication on one end, but you don't know who owned that certificate before. What has the value history of this been. Now great galleries will be able to tell you that. However, many galleries are not great galleries, you know what I mean? But that's the value.
He said, live from the Great Gallery. It's not fair that you get to pick out background podcast art from a literal gallery. That is cheating.
And in order to be able to keep that going, can we please send a gunshot one time for the man that makes that possible? Go ahead, give a gunshot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Gallery Momo in South Africa, the foremost Black-owned gallery. Shout out to Muna Mokwena for that. Give them a look. Incredible art, and it's something that some conversations that we've been having in order for Gallery Momo to take on NFTs into a certain extent. So there's a lot of excitement in the art world for disruption of this kind. I fully support it.
So now the interesting question becomes, how does music look?
Exactly.
Right? I think it's really interesting to imagine like a digital space, like your digital library, so like where the album artwork is prominent, and you can kind of like just they're gonna have to create a digital way to display whatever it is, whether it's music, whatever it is, because part of the NFT and who's going to be attracted to it is specifically people that care, people that are collectors, people that are connoisseurs of whatever the media type is, right? And often connoisseurs like to display their collections, right? That's a part of it. So they're going to have to come up with something, a digital representation from that. The flip side of it is that there will always be bootlegs. There will always be a way to listen to music without paying for the NFT. And if it sounds exactly the same, there's going to be a large market of people who do not care.
Now, going right off of those words, right? There is an article that came out recently about Lil Yachty and the Winklevoss twins regarding NFT. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a quick read.
Yo, nigga, your brother told us how you be all into reading and shit. Hey, that's some real good shit, my nigga, for real. Congratulations, nigga.
Get him. I should have a book that I pick up every time.
You should, for sure. For sure. It's gotta be a book of nonsense, though. Yeah,
it's gotta be a book of nonsense.
Like something ridiculous. You know what would have been funny as hell is if you just put up a Dr. Seuss book real quick.
Red ham, green ham, bro.
Where else?
Hey, man. So, Lil Yachty, the Grammy-nominated rapper who today sold $375,000 worth of Yachty tokens, his new cryptocurrency, in an ICO, has teased his 5.2 million Twitter followers with the prospect of limited edition crypto art. Yachty tweeted an animation of Yachty Coin, the new cryptocurrency that Yachty launched with social media platform Fuse, to the soundtrack of one of his songs. The 23-year-old rapper said he's working on a collaboration with the Winklevoss twins NFT art house platform, Nifty Gateway. He will sell the fruits of that project at 7 p.m. on December 15th. But up for sale will not be the Yachty coin sold in today's ICO, but a new type of currency called NFTs, non-fungible tokens. NFTs are a unique cryptocurrency that can be swapped for another. That makes them perfect for selling digital art.
Yeah.
Yachty writes, for all my fans outside the US, I partnered with Fuse to make history. My lawyer is making disclosure that I'm being paid. If you want to buy access to the Yachty coin, it's coming soon, only on the Fuse app.
I think That's a really cool way because it's an artist and it's about, you know, people who want to follow them and their personality and their music, but they're what he's selling is something outside of the music, right? It's an opportunity to have the stamp as an OG Yachty fan, right? I think that's really cool. I also
Yeah.
think that it's cool to bundle NFTs with stuff. So with concert tickets, with physical versions of the album, with a vinyl, right? That would be lit. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I got one idea for NFTs, and I might be giving sauce away, but I want to hear what you think about the Yachty thing a little first.
Like I love what you said about the different ways that artists can actually utilize tokens, right? Which is bundling them and utilizing the concept of the NFT tokens to apply to the music spectrum. So the whole concept is that you are purchasing tokens that are in relation to a certain type of art, and whatever you get back from that art, be it authentication, be it experience, be it bundles, be it um, merch, whatever it is, that is what you're purchasing into. And I believe that, you know, any way in which we can get money from the pocket of the consumer all the way to the artist, the quicker that, the more direct that can happen, is always going to be something that I'm a proponent of. Right? I'm a supporter of. So in that way, it's fantastic, and thank you for highlighting it like that.
Yes, sir.
Now drip the
Yes,
sauce.
sir. So imagine ad libs as NFTs.
Ooh.
So there's no song. The artist just goes in. Travis Scott just goes and gives you a real crispy, it's lit, you know, with the auto tune. And that's just the perfect capture of his ad lib. And that's the media representation. And it might be bundled. So it might be, you know, you get a certain amount of concert tickets or discount on the concert tickets. And this sound becomes your text tone or, you know, your music notification tone. I don't know. But I think it would be dope. People picking their favorite artists, you know what I mean? Whether it's Quavo or, you know, whoever, Future, but just to be able to, for them to give if it's Chance, you know what I mean? And it's just that little, I think that would be lit.
That's actually very fire. That's very fire. That reminds me a lot of the period in which people were making money off of emojis, and there were Kimojis. Kim Kardashian made her own emojis. A bunch of people made their own emojis. It's kind of like almost like ringtones as well, a little bit, where you're purchasing, where you're exchanging capital to be able to hold something of that audio art. So I guess in the case of the in the case of the music space, when it comes to NFTs, the value of that is in not necessarily the investment aspect, although it can be, but it's more so about the purchasing of the value of what that NFT gives back to experience and such.
Yeah, exactly. People want to buy experiences, and the only downside to experiences is that you don't have something physical or reminder of it, right? You might get a ticket, you might want to keep the ticket, but it's not always the same as it would be lit if you had a digital record of that's walking around in your phone, you know, just like that's why people stand at concerts with their phone up the whole time trying to take pictures because they want to leave with something or something that says, I was here, I participated in this, you know what I mean? Same reason people buy merch, right? So imagine what you do, how it changes if you automatically get the merch, the certificate, whatever, downloaded to your phone as soon as you buy the ticket. Now you're going to have the experience knowing that you're going to walk away with whatever that is in your pocket. It's lit.
That's fly, and here's some dope stuff as well. Whereas the NBA recently, the different videos that they were, let's say a dunking video or something of that sort, they've been selling those as NFTs out to people. So people have been collecting like these various dunks and stuff like that. As you know, we grew up, we're millennials, so we grew up with trading cards, which are actually now making a comeback. And these NBA posters and things of that nature are now being traded as are being traded under NFTs, but in the same way that we were trading on these collectible cards.
That would be lit, man. And like it's one high def video rendering, like almost like a super HD GIF of this dunk, and only you have. It would be lit if you have access to it to make that your laptop background or your phone on lock screen, and you know what I mean. And or you know, holograms is coming, bro. You're gonna be able to put your phone down and have your NFTs just be displayed. You know what I mean? All the different stuff you got. So,
For
man,
sure. And for sure, and like the fear of replication when it comes to the music side, especially with NFTs, is that you hold something that a lot of people can play a bunch of times, a lot of things, something that people can um, listen to. You can download it if you want to, right? So the novelty of having it is not there. But it's the same thing as like when we're collecting cards, which is that the image that is on the card is an image that's popular all over. That is not the point. The point is the value of the actual token that you're holding and what that represents. So I think we might have cracked some space in the way that these NFTs can be valuable in the music space.